Hello everyone, welcome. This is Voices, and Voices is a program of the Communication Department of the Atlantic Caribbean Union of Seventh-day Adventists. We're delighted that you have joined us, and wherever you are viewing the program from, we say welcome. From the beautiful shores of the Cayman Islands, from the beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands, and of course the beautiful country of the Bahamas, we bid you welcome. For this program of Voices, we are delighted to welcome Pastor Barrington, and if I call all of his names, Henderson Brennen. And we're going to talk about something interesting, but today I just want to say welcome to Pastor Brennen.
Thank you for having me on Voices.
Pastor Brennen, how have you been doing?
Extremely well. I'm happy to be alive, sleeping at nights and eating in the day and working very well.
Beautiful. And how is your family?
Oh, we're doing really well. My wife and I are kissing every day and night. Our four grandchildren are growing healthy and strong. You know, our oldest grandchild should be 10 soon. Youngest 1. Our granddaughter, only granddaughter, Marguerite's last child, Odelia Joy Samuel, was 1 on April 21. She's born on the Queen's birthday, April 21.
Okay.
So she got her beauty from her granddad and her good looks from her grandmother.
Barry, it's always a joy talking with you, and I love the report that you've given to us with regards to your children, and your grandchildren. Tell me about your children. I know you got 2 kids, or 2
Marguerite and Marguerite, who married Leslie of St. Martin. He's Dutch. Leslie Samuel, they live in Michigan.
Okay.
Right near Andrews University. Marguerite is a stay-at-home mom. She taught at Great Lakes Adventist Academy for 5 years with her husband. She was director of choral music. He was a biology teacher. Then he got a call to go to Andrews in the physical education department, education department, PhD, teaching PhD students. And then he decided to go full-time into blogging. He's a professional blogger, still living at Andrews. My daughter, although a full-time mom, she directs choirs and do a lot of singing, and still the director of a music group called Journeying, and they have 2 children, Noah and Odelia.
Okay.
Gerard is in Ogallala, Nebraska. Gerard and Dana, my sweet daughter-in-law, lived in the Bahamas for 5 years, and then they moved back to Nebraska, where she is from, but they're not living in a town where she grew up, some little town with 4,000 people. And so Jared is one of the managers of a very large recreational health facility. And she works at a shelter advocate program for abused women.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have 2 sons, and and Marguerite and Leslie has a boy and a girl. So I'm a proud father of 4 grandchildren, Annick and I, and we married 40 years in a few months. And then they say they're finished, so those 4 will have 4, that'll be 8, and then 16,
So you have all of this calculated?
Yeah, calculate, yeah.
Pastor Brennen, today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, I think. Some folk may dread talking about something like this, but the topic is retirement.
Yes.
What is retirement?
Retirement should be considered a transition to a new way of living.
Okay.
That's what I would say a proactive or positive way of looking at retirement. A transition to a new way of life, not a cessation of work. Okay? Retirement for many is ceasing a particular job and going into a new phase of life. For many, that new phase of life is doing nothing, or in a positive way, doing what they want to do when they want to do it. That's what I look forward to after November 30, 2019, to do what I want to do when I want to do it, and it's going to be plenty work. I plan to transition. I'm not retiring, I'm transitioning. That's my positive way of looking at retirement. If retirement is a cessation of life, we die. Or a cessation of living or working, we die.
So you're saying to me, as an Adventist minister,
yes,
you will no longer pastor a church after a certain date?
That's right.
You already know that date?
I know that date. I have planned it, November 30th, 2019. I will no longer be employed by the Adventist Church. I'll be enjoying the retirement funds and then making my own funds.
I do know that.
I plan to make more money then, after between the ages of 65 and 105, than I've ever done in my life, doing good for the world.
Okay.
And I notice I said the world.
Is there a particular specific age for retirement?
Traditionally, in most countries, retirement can go between 60 and even 70. In the Bahamas, it's 65 in terms of national insurance benefits, 65. In the Adventist Church, it's 65. However, in the Inter-American Convention, we can retire at 63 if we have 40 years of work. Okay? But many of us decide to stay on for a year or two so we can get the full national insurance benefits and our work benefits instead of losing a few percentages. Some people retire early and do get their national insurance benefits, but the percentage is much lower. Okay? So, on the other hand, there is no real scientific time or legal time to retire. You can retire anytime you want to, but to get legal government benefits, that may differ. Some people retire. I met a guy retired at 35. He worked so hard. Now he's living on the hill. He's living high. He's made his money, and he's retired. But he's not depending on national insurance or Social Security. His money is stashed away. So you could do what you want to do. Only thing I'd like to say about that is, if he is living a convalescent life, he's living a laid-back life, he may die sooner than he thinks. Because if retirement is cessation of work, then you're in trouble.
Okay. So the country and the church, two different qualifications as far as retirement. You indicated that the church is 40 years?
The church is 40 years. And as you know, your personal, what you say, the secretaries of these conferences can explain better, like yourself, because some people could retire 30 years, but how much benefits you get and all that, and what age. But generally, 65 is the age, or 63 with 40 years of work.
In comparison to the country?
Same way, as I said. Country is 65 for full national insurance benefits. However, we know certain branches of government, 60 or 20 or 35 years, no matter what the age is. I met a young man, he's 40-something, he's already retired from this Defense Force or whatever, he put in his 25 years. So he's getting his retirement from them, but maybe not from national insurance yet. Okay? So retirement itself, if we understand it to mean I'm stopping this work, then that's okay. But if it means I'm stopping work, that ain't okay. We're in trouble.
How would you encourage people, and how are you preparing for retirement?
I have not prepared for retirement. Or let me start over. Up to 3 or 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, I did not prepare for retirement, unfortunately. But that's not good, meaning when you don't plan for it. We didn't put away, stash away funds, because you still have to do that. So I felt at ease, I felt confident, because I know I'll be taken care of when I stop working. I just moved into my own house, our own house, Anik and I, in 2009, the first and only house we've ever had, and not plan to get any more. And somehow there is a plus in getting into a house very late, in that when you retire, it's still new. Or if you get into a house when you start the work of your own, by the time you retire 40 years later, you got to get a big loan to repair. So there's pluses and negative things about it. So we have been planning for retirement better now. One is by sitting down and discussing and planning and put on paper.
Talking about
For instance, I have my will made already. So,
you have?
Oh yes, we have our will. We know through a particular insurance what we get in a particular year, and we know how we're going to spend that. So we have to think ahead, and we did that more in the past, say, 5 to 10 years. And I wouldn't want anybody to make that mistake. We've spoken to our children about it, and they already started. They're young. They haven't reached 40 yet. All right, just almost there. And we don't want that to happen to people. We want to plan. Although I don't think I would technically suffer if I didn't plan as much, but I would be missing out on stuff if I don't really plan. And
the flip side to that, Pastor Brennen, is that I want, even for those persons who may not be members of the Adventist Church and they're thinking about retirement or transition, how can we help them? What would you suggest to them?
For retirement planning, I like to teach starts from the minute you start to work.
Okay.
We think of retirement planning. Should I use the word transitioning planning? Okay. Instead of retirement, to keep the positive aspect of just a change. Should start from the beginning. And I started dreaming about retirement, that's about 10 years ago. And so I'm working towards it. But I think you should start planning from the beginning, the time you start to have your own income. When you will build a home, savings toward it, or opening up investments in different places. Whether you're going to save $1,000 a year doesn't matter. You'll be amazed to know what $1,000 a year do in 40 years plus interest.
Wow.
Okay? Okay?
That's right.
And that's only $1,000 a year. So you got to plan. Another way of planning for retirement is the way you take care of your life.
Okay.
The way you take care of your body, the way you take care of your mental health. You want to retire with good health, mentally and physically. So you can't run yourself down when you work. You have to save some energy for the next day. I'll say, so you don't want to be exhausted when you're retired, in a sense. I know sometimes we are glad we finished this work. I'm not talking about that. You don't want to be exhausted and so you're going to sleep for the next 6 years. No. You want to plan for retirement, and it's something you look forward to at another. For me, it's another phase of my life. I'm dreaming now about, hey, I'm retiring at 65, transitioning at 65. You mean if I add 25 more years to that, I'll be how old? 90? You know what I could do in 25 years? Man, I could. There's another career, something I established. So I am actually dreaming now of what's going to happen when I'm 80, when I'm 75. So we need to start planning for retirement financially, and by putting away, by wise investments, by maybe when you build your home, how you build your home, by emotionally planning for it, praying about it, structuring yourself for it. So when it comes, it's something you look forward to, not something you dread it.
Pastor Barry, I hear you talking, and you're talking about retirement, you're talking about this long period. Before we take the break, let me just quickly ask you, man. You have no guarantee that you're going to be around for that time, but yet you are actively talking about it.
Don't spoil this, Pastor Clark. Don't spoil this. I'm trying to be positive, you know? Okay, yes, I agree with you, Pastor. I don't know if I'll be around 65, but that's not how you plan.
There you go.
On the other hand, I should plan to die anytime. That's another part of life.
Right.
I must live. So if I die, I look back. If I could have, when I'm dead, I'm satisfied what was there. So I don't know when I'm going to die. So if I do not die now, I'm planning for the future. If I die now, what's going to happen when I die? I know now, today, on this day, in this part of the year, what will happen when I die. I will be cremated.
You will be.
I know what my will says about all my, and our children knows also. It's public. It's no secret. Okay, they know everything. So all of that is planned. My wife knows what she will do if I'm alive. I know if she dies, what I will do. All that's a part of planning.
Pastor Brennen, I so appreciate this. We're going to take a break right now. You're going to come back with me, and you're going to hear voices where we talk about the pastor who's determined he is going to be, and he wants to be cremated when he dies. Stay tuned.
We are people, and we love to get connected. We connect as families because of birth. We connect as friends because we click. And we connect as communities because we care. Seventh-day Adventists are people who connect in communities called congregations, which in turn connect to form conferences, who connect together to form unions, divisions, and the General Conference. Why do we connect? It starts with a connection to the Creator, who invites us on a spiritual journey. When we journey together, we can help each other along the way. This journey is a journey of a lifetime, and as we learn and grow, life becomes filled with meaning and purpose. Our greatest joy is in helping others along the way. Wherever you are on your journey, we believe that we have something to offer that can make your life more whole. So the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, you're not looking at someone who stands alone. They are connected to a world church that has 18 million members, gathered in 13 divisions, comprised of 122 unions, formed by 600 conferences, serving in 140,000 congregations in 208 countries, who worship in 924 languages, and they all want to connect with you.
Welcome back. This is Voices. I have with me Pastor Barrington Brennen. We've been talking about this matter of retirement. Just before the break, Pastor Brennen mentioned that he wants to be cremated. Pastor Brennen, most folk have a difficulty with being cremated, whether it's from a theological standpoint, whether it's from a misunderstanding, or whatever the case might be. How do you see that?
Well, first of all, there's no biblical prohibition on cremation. Second, the Adventist Church has no problems. It's a personal choice. It's clearly in our manuals about creation. Thirdly, it's a cheap way to go. Inexpensive.
Okay.
That is, if you just don't get a $5,000 urn for the ashes.
Okay.
You know. So for me, I have no qualms with that, and how I plan to do it. I mean, I want those behind me to do is that, you know, people want to see you after they die and all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't know why people like to do that if they didn't come to see you before, you know. But they will send out a notice around the Bahamas on, if you want, I died at 1 o'clock, you want to see me? You come to the bedside between then and 2 o'clock, and then after that I'm gone.
Wow.
And then cremated. That'll be like my father. He died 8 o'clock that night, 11 o'clock the next day, he was cremated. That was planned. Okay? There's nothing against that biblically, neither our church, and it's a choice. But however, we don't want people to think that just because you cremate it, you automatically a cheaper funeral. It can be, but it's not automatic, because you can have $5,000 brochures, you can spend $5,000 for the mortician, for all the things you want to do. You can buy a $10,000 urn or $800 urn. You know, you can still come up more than a regular funeral. Okay. So, but if you do not have the casket and just go a regular way, it can be cheaper and quicker and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. You talk about the cremation. What about the funeral aspect?
The funeral, my funeral will be 75 minutes the most.
75 minutes?
Yes, the most. Beautiful singing, lots of music, no sermon, it'll be a eulogy.
Okay.
Okay.
And what does that mean?
A eulogy?
Eulogy.
One term is homily. Sermon is a good way we understand. That's an adoration and praise and thanksgiving to God for the life of the person, or bringing hope to the listeners. The eulogy is a speech about the person's life. Okay, in the Bahamas, in Adventist circles, we don't do it much like that. Other Adventist countries do it a lot. The eulogy is about the person. It doesn't have to be a pastor. It could be a pastor or someone who knows the person well. And a sermon is about the hope in Christ.
Okay.
But you know, we mix the two in our churches sometimes. Okay.
Pastor Brennen, you would agree with me that you are an enigma. You are different. You
I am.
unique.
There are many like me, just that you never met them.
So you stick together.
Yes, yeah.
Not a problem, okay? For the average person, you know, they will hear you and they say, wow, that means he already has his funeral, that means he wants to be cremated and all of that. And like you indicated, among other things, it's a financially a beautiful way to look at things, right? Okay. So I come to this question now, and I wanted to ask you, how does retirement, because all of this came out of retirement, when you retire, you ought to prepare for your final days.
That's correct.
Isn't that so?
That's correct.
How does it affect your family, retirement? How does it affect maybe even your marriage life?
That's correct. The impact of retirement on family will be depending on how you plan for it and how well managed or beautiful your marriage was or relations were before you retire. For instance, when you retire, if you're alone with your partner at home and you didn't spend much time together doing things, now you are back home, you're not going to work, the old-fashioned way I'm dealing with, and you're in each other's face 24/7. You don't know what to do. It really impacts negatively if you haven't prepared for it. Okay? And you know this concept of when, or this term we use, when the children are gone, then you have an empty nest.
Yes.
I don't believe in that. I live in the nest. No children are there, so don't tell me I have an empty nest. My wife and I live there.
Okay.
And we had that concept from before they left. We raised our children to get out of the house.
You say that again, please?
We raised our children to get out of the house,
So you
not to
kick your
stay there.
children out?
I didn't kick them out. I say we raised them to get out, that they are going to be living by themselves in another relationship, not to keep them. Okay? And that's important. I planned for that. So when 15 years ago or so or more, our last child left, that was a look forward opportunity. We were not, oh, are you enjoying your empty nest? Empty nest? I said, no, we live in there. No children there. We kicked out the children. You know, all these concepts can help in your transition to retirement and when you retire. So when you are alone, then you have physical health. Because of the lack of, or less activities, it may impact your physical health, that may impact your marriage. We also know that depression increases if you don't plan for marriage or because of certain ages. Between the age of 65 and 85, the risk of depression increasing is greater, okay? You have dementia setting in and other psychological or physical illnesses. All of this can be not only limited to, but can be due to lack of planning for retirement or sudden retirement unplanned for. So we can go on a myriad of reasons how retirement can impact family life.
Okay. And so my follow-up then is that persons who are at that stage for retirement, for transitioning, they will have needs that they may not have had before. Can you speak to that for us?
Yes. The needs for retirees, should I say, are a peace of mind.
Okay.
A peace of mind, and I'm looking at my notes that I wrote down. Financial stability, because although, like in my situation, I plan to make money like a career. But you know, it's giving me peace of mind now planning. I know there is a set amount coming in whether I sleep 1 week or not, you know. You follow me?
Yes.
Okay.
So you plan to make more money.
Yeah, there's more.
Go ahead, Pastor Brennen.
A need for family togetherness is very important in retirement age. Good health.
Okay.
Good health is important. And security. Okay. Emotional security, not police security necessarily. But it's peace of mind, financial stability, family togetherness.
When you say family togetherness, though, wouldn't that have been...
We know that when persons retire and they're isolated, or they have little ties, they are more prone to depression, or may not enjoy their retirement. Now, persons who have small families, they know this. Sometimes they extend that. They have a lot of good friends. So when they retire, they have their family togetherness, okay? They may, for instance, some persons may have been the home surviving sibling. There are other siblings and parents, like I'm a widow, my parents are dead, right? All the siblings are also dead, but they have lots of good friends or lots of cousins, but then they create a synergy among themselves, a family unit. I'm saying without that, we all need at least 5 healthy relationships to maintain a healthy life, at least 5 around us. I'm not talking about distant relationships. I'm talking about intimate kind of relationship, not romantic relationship
So
necessarily.
where do you get these? What kind of categories? How would you suggest the persons to achieve these 5 healthy relationships? Is all church folk?
Nope, no, not all church folk. Well, if you want all church folk, fine, but it doesn't have to be. I think it's good that we have our neighbors.
Okay.
Like where we live right now, we know the neighbors on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and the 2 behind us.
Okay.
And generally, they all know when I'm gone. Okay? We don't necessarily sit in front of each other's fireplace and chat and laugh, but we chat. We know each other, okay? So your neighbors, and then if you don't have any relatives, so first let's go on to relatives.
Yeah.
You have your relatives. And some of us need to make peace with our relatives in our transitioning years. We got to find peace and not tension. The more tension, the older you get, the more chronic illnesses you get, okay? Increase of hypertension and diabetes and so forth, and cancers. And remember, the more stress you have in the life, the more stress, and the stress that remains elevated for a long period of time, lower or suppresses the immune system, meaning there are lots of antioxidants, poisons, toxins rather, that poison the body, neonaprelin and prolactin, other things they pour into the body that suppresses the immune system. And so when your immune system is suppressed, any illness can come, from a common cold to cancer.
Okay.
So you want to find ways of managing your stress or reducing it better, lower, before you retire and when you retire. So you have your friends. And if we are Adventists, it'll be wonderful if your neighbors are all Adventists to find a good, exemplary non-Adventist to be a good friend to also in that circle. Okay.
I like that. And you have to be sharing your faith. You have to be,
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you have your family, you have your neighbors, you have your church folk,
yes, your church folk.
maybe your former co-workers
and associates,
possibly,
yes.
Associates, yes, okay.
You got to have some ties. You got to have some ties. I don't know if you remember Merle Bennett, Dr. Harold Bennett's wife in Jamaica. She was on a bed for maybe 2 decades or so, or many years long after retirement because of illness.
Right.
Now, people went to her to see her. Why? And how she kept her link, one was telephone contacts.
Okay.
Anybody who wanted a telephone number, she was the directory.
Wow.
You called her. Secondly, she called a whole list of people every, I can't remember, Friday, to wish you happy Sabbath.
Wow.
And by the way, she couldn't get out of bed. Her husband did everything for her. But her phone was there and she dialed. That kept her connection. We got to find something in life to contribute to, make others happy, contribute to the world to make it more positive, make your life positive. So when we die in peace, not in pieces.
Mercy. I remember Sister McKinney, Ruth McKinney.
She always does that.
Yeah.
She has an email and she sends out her encouragements, and she has a web page for that also. So we have to find a way of making life joyful all through life, notwithstanding we're going to get knocked down here and there.
Yes.
So when we reach retirement, we're still joyful. No, let me go to research, which I shared before in another setting. In Loma Linda University in the 1960s, they did a research, and it's still relevant today. It has been replicated. When you operate on less than 20% of your physical, emotional, social, and spiritual acronym, what they call it, you increase your chances of a heart attack 33%.
Wow.
So, here is the importance when you go to retire. If you worked at BEC or BPL, I think it is.
That's right, BPL.
Okay. And you're a lines person. You pull these power lines every day, and you climbing poles. So you retire.
Yes.
Or transition today. Next 6 weeks you're dead. And that used to happen a lot there.
Okay.
And they try to stop that by having these seminars. Okay. Why? Because some of them literally stopped working. and that's not healthy. The body is made to work.
Yes.
So if you're not able to go back up on the line and pull, but you got to go outside, maybe jog, you got to lift a few weights, something you have to do.
Yes.
If you are a news person or a host on a big show and you have to read every day, I know some people in America and England, they have to read every newspaper, and they read 5 and 6 books a week and 3 a day. All of a sudden you retire, bingo, you stop. Your mind can't function as well. You increase your chances of heart attack 33% according to research. No, you wouldn't have to read all the newspapers again. No, we're not suggesting that, but you gotta still pick up the book and read. Something you have to keep active. You have to keep active. Okay,
I've heard, Pastor Brennen, that there are organizations around where they are made up of retired persons, and they do busing sometimes. They will take a bus and with all the retirees go and travel around the country.
That's weird. Yes, I've heard of that. And if you, those of us who travel to the States and go to Walmart, who are greeting you at the front entrance? They have retirees there and smiling. They look so wonderful. How are you? And you don't know what some of those retirees are. They might have been medical doctors. They may be successful engineers, but they want to keep active 1 day a week or 5 hours a week or 5 days a week. Hello, welcome to Walmart. Come on, we got to find something to do.
And we have to take care of our retirees
yes,
as
we
well,
have to.
Isn't that so?
We have to take care of retirees, and the church does that one by setting up a retirement fund, but also right now we have an organization, the Retirees Association, I think led by Dr. Kerry, or he's very involved in it.
Yes.
In the Adventist church. But I think we need to find a way of the church itself, of membership, having a broader umbrella, a retirement for social outlets, for encouragement and education during the final days. And I think we can do that.
Pastor Brennen, on the motion for adjournment, take 30 seconds. What would you say to the retirees out there, and what would you say to those planning for retirement?
Well, for those planning for retirement, that's the easy one.
Okay.
Remember, it's transitioning.
Okay.
Retirement is a transition to a new way of living. Plan for it from now. And it's never too late. Don't say that. Start planning. All right? For those who are retired, continue trucking. Continue moving on. If you are lazy, if you are indolent, get out. Jog. Join a social group. Become a part of Kiwanis. Be a pathfinder all over. Sing in the choir. Get out. Don't lay down there in that bed. Get involved. Get active. If you are already active, hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Thank you so much. You've been watching Voices. I've been pleased to have with me the inimitable one. He is Pastor Barrington Henderson Brennen. I love him, Pastor Brennen, and we appreciate you joining us this week. God bless you. Until next time, Voices from the Atlantic Caribbean Union of Seventh-day Adventists.